What more do you think like schools, just in general, or even government, just schools in general, should do to educate teachers specifically about bipolar so that they can be aware of these, traits so that, like I said, when a child is misbehaving, they can detect it and do more for them. You get me? Yeah.
I think that it needs to start from teaching the young generation about well-being, about leading the life that is healthy, emotionally healthy and mentally healthy, and understanding that will prevent children from getting into trouble. But the teachers and the staff in school, they just need to have the knowledge, they need to be trained that there are certain psychiatric disorders that may show in childhood. However, those children very rarely be diagnosed because it's too early for the diagnosis of such kind. The bipolar, schizophrenia, they are usually diagnosed in adulthood.
In adulthood?
Yeah, because it usually becomes very transparent that something is wrong.
I'm not gonna lie, you're teaching me a lot. I didn't know, I literally thought I literally thought you can even be a young child, and if your parents or certain people start suspecting already that you might have symptoms of bipolar, you can literally go and get assessed. So you cannot get assessed when you're young, only until when you
There
get
are
into
cases where children are assessed and diagnosed with certain disorders, but usually it is waited until they are at least in 20s to be certain that this is the diagnosis that is correct. Because for the child it could be developmental, it could be spectrum, autistic spectrum, it could be so many things that giving that label too early could be harmful.
What about with your family? Like, does anyone in your family also have bipolar?
I am not sure about that. My family is very small. Many members are already gone, and we don't have the insight into the history of the family to know. I know that there was an uncle who had schizophrenia. Well, at least this is suspected that it was schizophrenia. But nothing about my condition in the family. So it's difficult to say.
Have you thought about just trying to reach out to certain schools, or, like, to just try to see if you can even just go do some talks to just so that you can pass on the message, and also you can share your story as well? Because I'm not gonna lie, I could see it. I could see it literally. You going into certain schools, just sitting down with some of the kids, just sharing some of your journey, and actually just giving them some information. Not even just the kids, the teachers, about bipolar. Have you thought about that? Because
Yeah, of course. I'm thinking about doing something with schools. However, to get into that mode, it's not very easy. However, this what I'm trying to do. I also publish books for children. So one of the books, The Red Who Turned Grey, is about depression, for example, and it's for young children. So by creating those books, I hope that this will be a conversation starter for adult and a child to kind of talk about emotions and feelings, because there is an increase in mental health problems between youth, among youth. And it's crucial that even young children are taught the vocabulary to describe what's wrong with them, what's bothering them. So in that way, I am trying to achieve a bit of change.
Because if we're gonna speak about manifestation, yeah, I feel like you're already on your way. Like I said, with your books. So for example, if I was a headmaster, like in a school, and this proposal came to me, if I look into it and I get told she's already written a book already, like a kid's book, this and that, and yeah, she just needs a chance to sit in front of these kids, present her book, and also, again, give them some information about it, I'll be like, bring her in. Like, this is a no-brainer. So hopefully, like in the near future, like you can actually. What would you like to do first? Or you're not really bothered. Would you like to do like primary schools or like secondary schools? If you had to choose one first, like which one would you like to do? The younger ones or like these secondary school ones?
I think secondary schools would be good to start from, because this is the time when youngsters go through a lot of changes. This is when very often certain mental health problems manifest, and it's good that the channel of conversation is open for youngsters to, you know, to reach out for help and also to understand those different conditions, because there is more and more people with mental health problems, and youngsters need to know how to behave and how to act, how to treat them without judgment, without you know, stigma. So I think secondary schools would be the best start.
You know, big up to my brother Shocker. You know,
Yeah.
you done some work with him. Like, you know, do you guys have any plans, you know, like in the near future, to try to work something out, to do some more work together? Because again, you continue doing some good work. He continues doing some good work. You know, I really love you both and the work that you both do. And it's like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, well,
That collaboration is a
definitely,
no-brainer in the future.
definitely. Shoka is always on my mind when I think about events. So definitely we will be looking into doing something together at some point. And and there are so many other individuals as well who do amazing work. So it could be great to have an event again, that all those people come together and present something to the public. But unfortunately, if we don't know what it is about, it's about money. Funding is very strict now.
I hear a lot of the times, how difficult funding is. Because even for me, I closely work with a certain charity, and sometimes I go to different places, and obviously I talk about the charity to try to get funding, and it's difficult.
It is very difficult. Yeah. There is no money. You know, the Time to Change campaign was closed after pandemic. So there is not many. Well, there are still many charities that run and do advocacy for mental health, and they do great jobs. But this is because they have passionate people who work for free. The money is unfortunately very scarce to engage in any events. So as long maybe together with Shoka we will find a way to fund an event, and then perhaps we will do something together.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait. I would look forward to seeing you both together, the dream team back together and doing some more work together, man. Did you always wanted to do art and poetry, or with your bipolar and the journey that you've gone on, like art and poetry just found you through, obviously, trying to express your bipolar through it?
Definitely it found me, but because I was a child who was talented and I could draw beyond average, art was present in my life at the early stage. And I wanted to become an artist, but I was not allowed to go to art school because the times were difficult and money was tight, and that this kind of schooling costed a lot of money back then. So, and then I rebelled against it, because if I couldn't be educated in it, I was perceiving myself as not good enough. So I stopped doing anything until I rediscovered myself through that art group for mums that I mentioned before. So art found me really, and it found me in the moment when I needed it the most.
What about poetry?
Oh, well, I love poetry. I love writing. I love words. I love playing with words. It is something that really speaks to me, and and I'm going to continue.
A poem. I went through, when I was a bit younger, I went through like a little period and I tried to be a poetry, but I put some words together. But I think, like you said, poetry takes a person where deep down you actually have to love it. I think it goes with anything in life, and you have to. You're not just doing it because it seems cool and you can put some words together. You have to actually have like a deep love for it, right?
Yeah,
for you to
definitely
push forward. Do you go to poetry? Because obviously there's like clubs, like how comedy you have clubs and poetry as well. You can go out and do poetry. Have you done that before, or do you still do it? Like go out there and sometimes, like to share your poetry with different people?
Yeah. I used to do open mic evenings, and I still look for those events, and sometimes I perform there, but sometimes I just go to listen to others. So this is a good way to kind of get heard by others. Those open mics.
Okay. Random question. What What do you love about life currently? What do you love about life just in general, like the most about life? I know it's a bit random, but is there anything that just currently like you just love about life? It could literally be anything.
I think the beauty in nature is something that is really striking, and it helps me to cope with life in general. Being surrounded by nature, being able to, to go and see the sunset or sunrise. Nature, I think, is the beauty of life.
Do you feel like definitely there's more to come, there's more that you can give to the world and there's more to come from you in terms of like, like starting something new, like I said, or like new ventures, just like more to come from you?
I think there is, and well, since I got better, I published many books, and I keep engaging in advocacy via social media. So I think that definitely there will be something more that will come out of me, and and I'm looking forward to it. It's a kind of I am in momentum now, good momentum for my books. There is a book that is coming. I haven't announced it yet, but I have published Dragonfly Atlas, which is a book. It's not a memoir. It's a book that describes states of bipolar and illustrates them by dragonflies.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, perfect. So when did you start working on that book?
It was last month when
Last month?
Yeah, last month I started working on it, and it kind of I was in a good flow, and it's kind of came to me as because I was obsessed with painting dragonflies, and kind of when I was thinking about them, I always link my art to bipolar disorder, and I was thinking that it illustrates very well different states and shades of it, and then kind of one day said, okay, I'm doing a book with them, and it came.
Yeah. And do you also, every single time you publish like a new book, you write a new book, do you publish it through the same person? Through the same publisher?
Through KDP Amazon.
Yeah, through the same company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's good, man, because like I said to Shoka, obviously Shoka's got a book as well. Like I said to a few people, in future, I'm definitely going to, write myself a few books in like, from different about different topics and whatnot. And I'm always just like fascinated when I see people like you, like who have got not even one, because like sometimes you hear some people who say to even get out one book is so difficult. So it's like when I see you with a few and I'm thinking, nah, man, like big yourself up, man, because like I said, it's not easy to, let alone one, to have a few books out. You get me? For anyone, even on a quick one, for anyone who might want to write their own book and put their stories or their poems or even just talk about their life, like to publish a book, what advice, as somebody who's gone through that a couple of times, like what advice would you have for anyone who would like to write their own book one day?
To have patience. The process is long and full of labor.
Yeah.
So to write it is always easy, but to get it published is another journey. So I would just say, don't give up. If you have something to say and you want the world to hear it, just do it and don't get discouraged, because there will be ups and downs. Every process has pros and cons. And and it's important to kind of keep believing in your dream. If there is something you want to say, then say it and do it.